Hello everyone, welcome back, and this is going to be my review of the newly released D&D Honor Among Thieves movie. So, starting with the non-spoiler section, this film is actually pretty good. It's a very self-contained story with a relatively small cast, but I found the story to be a simple one, not too bad. I was quite surprised with how lore accurate a lot of the spells were, as well as different things like the dragon's breath, armor, and weapons, as well as the locations and depictions of them on the Sword Coast. I feel like the cast does a pretty good job, in my opinion. I actually quite like the protagonist, and Chris Pine did a fantastic job with Edgin. As far as antagonists go, the secondary antagonist is actually portrayed really well, in my opinion. He's scummy, and you kind of love to hate him. Unfortunately, the main antagonist isn't the best. She feels a little bit more one note. Personally, I found the final battle to be really cool, fun. Uh, I think that D&D fans will really enjoy this. I enjoyed it personally, as well as the theater around me. There was at least two other D&D parties, so that was really fun to see. Overall, I would give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's a good film. It's less so because things were bad in it, and more so just the simplicity of it, but that isn't inherently a bad thing in itself. So, moving into a spoiler section here, this film does quite a lot. We explore a variety of locations as well as spells, different places like the Underdark, I believe Neverwinter, and not Water's Deep. I forgot the name of the main town where the climax is. And I'm not someone who knows every spell in the spell book, but I really liked a lot of things that we had on show here. Edgin to me was a really fantastic, funny, and enjoyable character. I really liked his dynamic with his daughter, and also his character arc coming to the front towards the end when he had to make the choice in order to save Holga. Speaking of Holga, I really liked her character as well. I thought the action scenes were really well choreographed, as well as the emotional scene with Edgin and Kira. I didn't think she was going to die at the end. It just seemed quite obvious that Edgin was going to use the tablet in order to save her. Simon, he's a fun enough character. His story arc's simplistic, and I'm sure we've all seen it before. But I really did like the comedy that he brought to the table. I think he added quite a lot of comedy to the movie, actually. Doric definitely felt the weakest, or rather the most simple, out of our quartet of characters. I really like how she uses wild shape throughout the movie, though, especially that chase scene. You know, going from the fly to the rat to the bird to the deer and running through the city. That was great, really. And then, of course, the snake and the gelatinous cube. Um, as well as I really, I thought I loved it. Her crazy idea to jump into the gelatinous cube to be transported into the lower area. Fantastic stuff. I love it. So I'm not sure how to say his name. I think it's Zank. I know I saw the movie. I don't remember how they pronounced it. He's sort of like the paladin type character, and he's a really fun character. I love this guy. His straightforward attitude. He doesn't understand jokes at all. His action choreographed scenes are fantastic. And it's a shame that he's only with us for a short time, but I think that in that time, I really liked everything that he brought to the table and what he added to the movie. And the climax in the maze was also really fun. We got two of my favorite D&D monsters, being the Mimic and the Gelatinous Cube. Gelatinous Cube being my favorite D&D monster. And the final battle against Sophina was actually really fun. Um, Honestly, it was just a blast seeing so many different spells and attacks being thrown around all at once, and then the animated stone dragon. I really did like the conclusion to this movie quite a lot. I'm not quite too sure how critics or hardcore fans are going to view this movie. I would consider myself a rather well versed casual player, and personally, I had a great time with it. If we did get a sequel, I'm all for it. Honestly, I hope we don't focus on this cast. I hope we get a different cast. Um, just so we can explore different characters and different parts of the world. Some of my favorite scenes in this movie definitely would have to be the Underdark, the graveyard, the cart scene where they're implementing the portal onto that painting, as well as the maze. Those ones all really stood out to me. I also wanted to throw in, one last little Easter egg. During the maze scene, one of the three groups that we see is the cast of the 1983 Dungeons and Dragons cartoon series. I really love this inclusion, as I did grow up watching the 1983 Dungeons and Dragons on DVDs when I was quite a bit younger. Overall, a fantastic movie. I would recommend any D&D fan to go see it. I had a great time. So did seemingly everyone else in the theater. And that's going to be all from me today. Bye, guys.